What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to answer your questions on YouTube. There is so many questions about fixing credit, getting out of debt, dealing with debt collectors, that I just have to just make a video like this and just answer them. And stay engaged with the video, because some of the times a question that someone could ask, the answer could be a piece of what you need for your specific situation. That's why it's important to just sit back and listen. YouTube is TV, right? Sit back and enjoy it. I'm gonna try to throw in some things to try to keep you entertained, but you know that credit and debt is very important, and that if we can master that and have that as a habit, have good habits with that, we can move on and enjoy a lot of stuff in our lives. So let me start off with some entertainment on something that happened yesterday. One of my employees, he used to work at this clothing store, and this is one of these clothing stores, some of the time I'd be wondering, is this stuff fake that they got in there? I didn't really want to get involved in all of that stuff, but he said he used to work in there years ago selling CDs. Selling CDs, okay. You know the guys that go around selling CDs. Well, I had two employees that actually used to do that. And Netflix and all them put them out of business. But he had said that the guy, they had saw each other in passing. And he was like, hey, what are you doing? Where are you working at now? And he had told him with the credit repair shop. And he's been with me, I think, 4 years now. And he had said, the guy said back to him, why do you help thieves? You're helping thieves. And I've had that comment in the comment sections of, from videos. And I've just bypassed. I would either say, hey, it's not about people stealing. It's about they're in a certain situation, trying to work their way out of a situation. Now, some people they are stealing, they're doing things wrong, and they can put themselves in jeopardy for doing that. But when I'm working with people, we don't think of them as being thieves. But for some reason, when my employee came to me and said it, maybe it was the way he said it, I sat back and I thought for a second. There's certain things that you could hear and it just goes through one ear out the other ear. It's the people you're helping are thieves. Type in there, hey, they're not thieves, they're just going through certain situations. For some reason, when it came from my employee, and also maybe because I know of that business in the community, that I listened to it and I was like, are we helping thieves? And then me being the type of individual that will think out things before saying something, I've gotten very good at that. I learned that when I was younger. I think I was 14 years old. It might be even my personality, is that I will listen to you. If you were to come into my office and you start talking about your situation, I would listen to you, and then I would give you my opinion on how you would be able to resolve your situation. And so I thought back, I sat back and thought back, went into deep thought. My employee was looking at me like, what do these people are thieves. He actually kind of said, and I was like, no, they're not thieves. Is that I said that if a corporation filed bankruptcy on the workers, are they thieves? And he was like, well, yeah, they are thieves. I said, okay, well then if a person goes through extreme financial hardship, regardless if it was from their own doing or if it was something that happened that was unintentional, are they really being a thief? If they've tried to pay and then they just worked their way into a bad situation. And I'm like, if we look back at a lot of stuff that we've done in our life, if you just went by the words and said, hey, you are a thief on something, or you tried to do something to hurt somebody without knowing the background on stuff, you would, people would have those opinions. That's why it's very good to think before you react. And what I told my employee, I said, go and I'm pretty sure if you were to look at that business, we have a way that we could look at different things about business because of a different company that I own. And I said, here, let's just type in some stuff about their business. And we saw that there was hundreds of thousands of dollars in employee taxes that were not paid for the employees that worked for him, that he was being sued for by the state. So I said, is he a thief for that? Is he a thief for not paying those employee taxes to the state for the work that people did? And that part of that tax money is supposed to go to those individuals' Social Security accounts. So is he a thief for that? Because, and I said, I don't think he's a thief. I think he just made a mistake. And so let's stop calling people these terms that kind of alert people. Like when people say, well, you're a thief because you didn't pay this collection. You're a thief because you didn't pay this company. Everybody's situation is different. So you do have some people who intentionally do things, but for me, maybe because I have the personality and I'm an optimist, is that I believe that everybody tries to do things and that some of the times people fall short, that they just fall short. So enough on that, but I don't believe that people are thieves, but we get that a lot. So here's somebody that said here, how about if you are sued by a debt buyer, can you still do it? I'm not sure. Oh, okay, I see what he's saying. He said that if a debt buyer buys your debt, can you get your debt forgiven with a 1099-C? Absolutely. If you look at the websites, I've shown this in a video before. Go to any of the debt collectors' website and either look for the word hardship, or if they have some type of search on their website, and just type in hardship or problems paying. You will see that they have to, according to the CFPB, they have to put something in there to where they hear the hardships for debtors, people's debt that they purchase. And that's aside from doing a proper debt validation to even see if you have to pay that debt collector. But this is one of the options that is available. There's plenty of people who have gotten 1099-Cs from debt collectors. Now, this is my something that I think is a gray area, though, is that if they buy the debt for pennies on the dollar and they do a 1099-C for the amount that they technically said that you owed, I don't believe that would be really legal because they didn't pay that amount. Now, if the original creditor did it, they would have a legitimate reason to do it, to file 100% on that 1099-C on the amount that they did forgive, because they actually did pay out that amount of money. Now, it is a little bit kind of stretched a little bit, and that's where that gray area, even for original creditors, is that when they added up those fees. So maybe you owed them $10,000, but by the time they did 1099-C, it's $15,000. So they got a whole $15,000 when really the other part in that they're forgiving was not even money that you had even gotten from them. So, you know, that's kind of iffy on that. Here's one here. I need to hire you to sit the pit bulls out. That's with the 1099-C. What we do, this is a service that we offer. So if you need something like this done, we haven't really offered this, this service, but we've started offering it. So say, for instance, you have a whole bunch of credit card debt, or you have a whole bunch of debt, and you've experienced some sort of hardship that is provable. Because I wouldn't suggest that you do this for anything that was where you just had mistakes, where you overextended yourself. I don't really think that that's going to work for a 1099-C hardship. But if you have provable hardships, disability, medical issues, extreme issue with a job loss where maybe your company closed down. We just here in Milwaukee, Master Lock, the lock company, they just closed. They're leaving over 200 and something employees losing their job, just gone. You know, something like that could potentially get creditors to do a 1099-C. It's not guaranteed, but this is a service that we have. And what we basically do is we just put a hardship letter together for you. And we also tell them that we will be the representative for you. And then we submit those letters to every one of your creditors and we see what comes back. So just imagine if you got $20,000 in debt and maybe just one of them said, okay, we're going to do the 1099-C. That's $15,000 now that you only have to worry about rather than 20. That makes a huge difference. All right, somebody said great video about credit card debt. I talked about this one here. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'll hit a like on that. Thank you for that. What I mentioned in yesterday's video about credit card debt is that really it's like a Rubik's Cube. There's several ways that you could get out of credit card debt. But the issue is that none of them will really work unless you internalize that you got to change your bad habits. I gave an example of an individual, family, where they had $9,000 a month. $9,000 a month in credit card payments and loan payments. And I said, this is the plan. This is the plan. We're going to stop paying those. I mean, and it's not that I said, when the alternatives came out after looking at their situation, I said you could either keep paying and struggling, adjust your budget, and see if you can make it that way. We can't make it that way. Well, then if you can't make it that way, then the other alternative is that you're going to have to just allow your credit to be crashed and then save money and get ready for settlements. But I said, this is the strategy that you could use. And coming to think about it, I didn't even think about it this way yesterday. So you're getting a bonus if you watch that video. They had $9,000 in payments going out. I said, you can call, get deferments, 3 to 6 months. I believe that they would get 6 months because of their payment history that they had before. So that would be $54,000 that they would be able to utilize to reset, pay some bills, get some stuff under control, and then they would start paying. This is before their credit would even be messed up. Their credit would not be messed up. They're just deferred. And then if they stop paying, if they just said at that point, we're not going to be able to make it, even with having $54,000 in our pocket to take care of stuff, to get our household budget in order, 6 months. Even with that, if you cannot make it, then you could go through what's called a charge-off process. That's where you're going to have another 6 months before they would even do anything. So you got a whole year, over $100,000. But this family did not do it. And the reason why people have a hard time doing it is because they cannot change the bad habits. I went through this. I talked about it when in 1994, when my wife and I sat down and we said we had to change the way that we manage our money. We had to change the habits. If you don't change the habit, it doesn't matter what solution I give you. It is not going to be able to work, or it's going to be so much up and down that you might quit because you don't believe that it can work, because the things that you believe are bad habits, and those bad habits got you into trouble, but those bad habits make you feel good. So when somebody gives you something that is going to be good for you, it makes you feel funny because you're not used to it. It makes you feel a certain way because you're not used to it. So that means that you're going through changes. And you know how it is when we go through changes, we take a little step and then we might take a step back. So to take that full step and to be all the way in, you have to believe and make changes with your habits. If you change the habit, everything else will make it work for you. Look at all of the books, and in my days, the CDs, the tapes, all of the different things that are out there to help you with credit, to help you with managing your money, to help you with all types of things, or us, all types of things in our lives, and we still could have some of the same problems because it's hard to overcome, because we don't have it in our mind that we have bad habits, and bad habits are hard to break. Good habits are hard to break. You got good habits too. Look at other people that you know that have bad habits, and you have a good habit with that same thing, and you're thinking to yourself, it is easy for me to do this. Why can't you do it? Because they have bad habits, and they're more used to their bad habits. So even when they try to do something to get outside of their bad habit, it makes them, they don't feel good about it. That's just the way we're built as humans. All right, let's go to the next one here. Someone said, do we fix credit in other states? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Look at this. Yes, we do. Let's see here. Here's someone here. Also, look at this here. You see that? If you don't see my comment like this, my picture, and you had this black around it, that is not me. That is an imposter. Don't follow those. And we don't use Telegram and all of that. You will know when we're communicating. So either go to our website and go to the live chat, or it's going to be through email, and they're going to have our web address attached to that. Someone said here, Midland is suing me, and my hearing is tomorrow. I replied to the motion to compel arbitration. I'll come back and give you an update. Please come back and give me an update, because one of the problems that I've seen with arbitration, unless you're have an argument in there, it's just going to be about the debt. So I'll be interested in hearing about that. So let's put, please do. Please do. Someone here said, thank you again for the truth. That's about the habit with the credit card debt. Someone here, I read something that you said, if you had back rent due when a new owner purchased the property you rented from, the debt wasn't assumed by the new owners. The old owners owned it and would come after you for it. If you pay it to the new owners, it's on you. It's on you to understand. Let's read more. However, is there a trust of money that sits, that goes, oh my, we already know about this here. Let me tell you, this situation, the trust stuff, we're not with all of that. But if you rent a place from someone, in my state, it could be different in other states, and I've seen it different in other states. Even if you have a lease, once they rent it, they cannot collect any money from that date that they re-rent it, because they have no real loss. They can't rent the place to two people at the same time. And in most states, I believe that is the law. So again, if you're renting, you break your lease, they lease it the next month, they cannot go and collect on that. But I have seen in some states, they are able to do it. Especially I've seen this with dorms, or not dorms, but where people rent out rooms for people, for their college students. I've seen where they have tried to come after people for that, the rest of that money. And I don't know if it's just because they're getting away with saying that they're renting out rooms. I don't know. But every time that we've challenged those, it seems that in those college situations, they were able to continue going after the individual. It might be something that is an agreement with the school. I don't know. But it's always ended up where we had to do settlements on those. But if it's sold to a new owner and you don't, and the old owner of the property does not come after you for that debt. The new owner would not come after you for the debt if you were renting from the old owner. And the old owner, potentially, if they've sold a property, I don't know if they would come after you, but I think the issue that this subscriber is concerned about is that they may have something on their credit regarding that eviction. And if you have something about an eviction on your credit, then what you have to do is you have to get with that previous owner and figure out a solution to resolve it. Usually it's going to have to be some type of negotiation to settle if they've got the eviction, because this is the thing, is that most people who have an eviction were struggling. They didn't go to court to represent themselves, or even if you did go to court to represent yourself, or you got someone to represent you, and you ended up losing because the landlord was able to prove, or the management company was able to prove that you owed the debt, there's really not much that you can do, because at that time would have been the time that you would have had the opportunity to argue your side of the case to see either you should have to pay or an amount that you should have to pay. So you're going to really be in a situation, just to be straight line, to get your thinking pointed in the right directions, that you need to contact that previous owner and look at doing a settlement. I read several times people that had to file Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 actually had their scores increase. Yeah, you can have your scores increase. Now, just to understand, like this was a good question. Thank you for that question. Now, this is what you need to understand. When you have that happen, so just so you understand, if you file Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, when people read something like this, they're thinking that when they filed it, their scores are going to go up. No. When you file, remember, you would not be filing unless you had everything screwed up with your finances. So your scores are going to go down. Then they're going, after everything is filed, they're going to add a matrix and everything. And then at that point, you're going to get discharged. And your score could go down again. But, and let's talk about Chapter 7 right now. When everything is discharged in your Chapter 7, you have to make sure that it goes to zero. If it doesn't go to zero on those creditors, this is something that we tell people when they finish their Chapter 7 bankruptcy, come to the credit repair shop, because all of those creditors are required to put a zero. And what we've seen with clients on their reports, and this is because people just don't really understand the full process. They just think about the end result, which is, I don't have the debt anymore, I'm discharged. You have to go back and look at your credit reports, and you have to see that those are going to have zero balances. If they don't show zero balances, then you're going to have an issue with that, to where you're going to be like, my credit scores, and my scores did not go where they needed to be. And so that is a good question. Now, with a Chapter 13, you're actually paying on your debts, but what you will see is that even when you're paying on those debts with a Chapter 13, your scores are not going to be going down. I mean, your scores are not going to be going up. And this is a problem. People get upset because they think that their payments are going to their creditors, but they're not. Your payments in a Chapter 13 is going to the trustee. On the Chapter 13. To the trustee and the lawyer. You don't have to take my word on it. Just look at your documents. Your payments in a Chapter 13 is going there, not to your creditors. So when you do that Chapter 13, your scores might actually drop. Your scores could actually drop. And my employee, hey, what's up, everybody? Don't worry, this is a question and answer video, so y'all can just get on the word.
Somebody asking you questions?
Well, I'm answering the YouTube subscribers.
And I see your picture over there, Steve.
You see, I just talked about the chapter 7 and chapter 13.
Yeah.
When people had a chapter 7, we tell them come to us after they discharge it, right?
Right.
That's what we tell them.
That's what it is.
All right. In the chapter 13, they gotta come after the 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And then them chapter 7s, that's for the other people. Yeah.
All right. So then let me get to the next question here.
Okay. It
So-
said
so-
effort into getting
I'll
another job
take-
and staying out of debt.
Yeah, I'll take care of this one.
Okay.
So here we go. Of some,
You gonna hit the burner. You put some new leaves in or what?
no, not yet. In a little bit.
Down there then.
Okay. All right. On this one here, we got of some of you would put in the same effort into getting another job to stay. Here's one right here. Here's one right here that I was talking about. This person is saying that if people would put effort into getting another job, they wouldn't have the problem with their debt. And what I tell people is that's true on a level, but people make mistakes with their money. They make mistakes with their debt.
All the time, Steve.
All the
People
time.
do that.
So it's not, yeah, this is partially true. Yeah, you need to figure out a way to bring in more revenue for your, more income. But we all make mistakes with this stuff. All of us. I done made it, you done made it, everybody. Right. So it's not about saying, like I get some people, yesterday a guy told Steve, he said that people that have bad credit are thieves. And I don't think that people that have bad credit are thieves. All right, go get to work. Okay, here's somebody said, thank you, credit repair professor. So we'll like that video. We'll like that comment, right? Someone here on this one said, can we do the same for business collections? Yeah, there's coffee down there. This is a video I made. That's a video I made years ago. It said never ever pay a collection and how to get away with it. I think that's where the people had a confusion. And what that video was about was doing where we did the debt validation and also making sure that it's not past the statute of limitations. But yeah, this can work for business collections also. But the thing that you got to be careful of when you're dealing with business collections is that if you have assets, because that business has technically signed for that loan. So a lot of people out there are talking about, well, can I get I could get a loan, a business loan, and have no personal guarantee, no PG. That's what they always say. And I tell them, hey, yeah, you can do it without a PG, but I know of businesses where they came in and they started taking stuff. So you need to understand that you can do these things for business collections. You need to do validation, but they had the option to go in and take any assets that are under that business's name. So there's a good and bad for that. So, and this is what this person said about the consumer debt. And then here's one here that says, if you can get a 1099-C and you file a 982 form with the IRS, there are qualifications, but basically if liabilities exceed, this is what I talked about with the 1099-C. A lot of people say, well, if I do a 1099-C, it's going to be taxable income when they forgive that amount of the debt. Yes, it's taxable income, but when you file that form there, you will see that not like 99%. I even have business owners that got 1099-Cs. They did not qualify to have their income, that 1099-C added to their income. It was 100% waived. So it says here, I have a measly $1,200 total bogus debt collectors sending me letters. I've responded and filed 2 disputes with the credit bureaus. They keep coming back legit. Let me tell you the problem that you got with this one is that you're not dealing with the furnisher. Why continue sending that to the credit reporting agency? That you need to deal directly with them. That's what makes us different with the credit repair shop, is that yes, you do send information to the bureaus for inaccurate information, but if you're dealing with something with a debt collection company, wouldn't it be benefit you to just go directly to the source? Because if you can make the source have to show you the documentation on everything, not just some statements, that will put you in a better position to be able to get that information removed. A lot of the times when we send that documentation directly to them, we will get letters back saying that they're going to cease all collection activities and remove that information off the individual's credit reports. It says, can you sue attorneys from the collection agencies when I settle the debt by having it charged off? Can you sue attorney's office from a collection agency when I settle a debt by, and it says by on my report, is it a charge off? Can I sue attorney's office from a collection agency when I settle? No. So I think this is my answer to that. Can you sue the attorney that comes after you for collection that was settled? No, you cannot sue them unless you can show some sort of way that they deceived you or something like that. If you do not challenge them the proper way with the court summons, you still will not be able to sue them even if they did something wrong. And let me tell you why. Because you never asked them any questions that would make it, put them in a position to say something that was not true. So if you're being sued by a debt collection attorney, even if it's an attorney that is in your area, like a lot of these companies, LVMV Funding and Calvary Portfolio, all of these companies will use attorneys in another area if they're not in that state. And that attorney takes that paperwork and files that lawsuit. Well, there's a responsibility for that attorney to have reviewed everything, not just take the documents and robo-sign it over and file it and try to sue you. But the reason why they got away with it is because people didn't know that you got to ask those questions. So but you got to do it in a response to the court summons. You got to ask the right questions back to them, and then you're putting it on record. So if anything is not appropriate, they're not gonna, the attorneys, trust me, those attorneys will rarely keep coming after you if they cannot get the answer from their client, which is the debt collection company that hired them to go after the debt. And they've already been paid some sort of money most of the time. Some of the times they do get paid when the case is done. They'll take a portion of the money. But they will. But you got to ask the right question. If you don't ask the right question, it's just not gonna work. All right. I'm gonna get to work now, but I'm gonna be back on YouTube where I'm gonna answer more questions in the comment sections. If I didn't get to your comment or your question, apologize, but I'll get to those. I'm gonna be back in there typing them in. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website yourthenumber3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations, debt validation, and cease and desist collection activities letter. I do ask for a donation on those, but it can save you time, money, and frustration. Use the letter that is appropriate for your situation. The instructions are right on